Pendulums can be an incredibly useful tool, especially for those who second-guess their muscle testing abilities. Pendulums and other dowsing devices simply amplify the biomagnetic changes taking place in your body. Intention is key when using a pendulum. It's important to note that the pendulum itself is absolutely not the source of any information. The answers will still be coming from the subconscious mind. The pendulum is simply a tool that shows the response in the muscles when we ask a question. So, rather than a strong or weak muscle response, a pendulum shows us yes and no answers with specific movements. I suggest you choose a pendulum that feels good in your hand. But if you don't have one, you can also use a pendant on a necklace or something similar. Any small weight on a chain can technically be used as a pendulum, but I suggest to purchase one sooner than later if you want to learn this skill, as it will be easier for you. Begin by sitting up straight, making sure you're comfortable, ideally placing your feet on the floor. Hold your pendulum like this, grasping the chain between your thumb and forefinger, holding the rest of the chain in your palm. Adjust the length of the chain as needed to get a clear answer as you go through this process. Most people prefer somewhere between 1 and 3 inches of chain above the pendulum, but you may find you prefer more. Now, brace your forearm on something solid like a chair, table, or your thigh, but do not brace your hand. It will be impossible to stay perfectly still, and this is fine. Now decide what you want your neutral to look like. This third state is one of the main things that sets pendulum usage apart from muscle testing. For neutral, you have 2 options. First, you can opt to not move the pendulum at all, although remember that minor movements are normal and to be expected. Then you'll get your baseline by saying yes or no, and the pendulum will move accordingly to show your body's response. Your other option for neutral is to swing the pendulum back and forth very gently at a 45-degree angle, usually from the direction of your left hip out toward the right, away from your body. The width of the arc should only be about 2 inches or 5 centimeters. Once you have achieved this motion, you can ask other questions and make other statements to get answers. This second option for neutral is generally going to be faster because the extra movement gives the pendulum the opportunity to settle into the yes or no answer within a second or two, while the first option may take longer. Try both options using the remaining directions and see which one you prefer. Next, decide what you'd like your yes and no answers to look like. Yes is usually either a circular clockwise motion or a front to back motion of the pendulum, synonymous with a head nod. No is usually a counterclockwise motion or side to side motion, synonymous with a head shake. While holding the pendulum in neutral, say yes and observe the movement of the pendulum, which should take place within a few seconds. This is your yes answer. Return to neutral and try this several times until the yes becomes clear. Come back to neutral again and say no. The pendulum movement will usually be the opposite of what your yes answer looks like. So, if your yes was a clockwise motion, your no will probably be counterclockwise. Say no and see what the movement looks like, expecting it to be the opposite of your yes answer. Return to neutral after you get your answer and repeat this several times until the answer is clear each time. Now try using different true and false statements to test your yes and no responses. Once you have clear and consistent answers, you can begin using it for the emotion code procedure or to get other answers about your health.